So the Formula One regulations for 2026 have been spoke about a lot. They've been theorized, and there's been all kinds of things going around saying there'll be this, there'll be that. But we actually found out recently what's it going to be, and we've seen a bit of a show car from the FIA as well. The big takeaway is that they're going to increase the amount of electrical power so that it's going to be a 50-50 split between combustion engine and the electric motors as well. But what they're also doing is that they're aiming to make the cars smaller and lighter. But some people, including myself, I've done a few videos about this too, think that it's not quite bold enough, it's not quite light or small enough. But realistically, Ed, is that the kind of potentially the limit of what they can achieve right now, given that they're going to need more electric motors for more electric power, and that's going to weigh the car down?
Well, if you think about where is the weight going to be, and I think you're absolutely right. If you're going to put more batteries into the car, you're going to raise the electrical side of it. You have to be able to compensate for that weight. Now, what has to handle that weight? Maintain the stiffness in the vehicle, the strength in the vehicle, the durability in the vehicle, so that it can actually maneuver, and that's the rest of the chassis. So the challenge is going to be to make that chassis lighter, but still strong enough and stiff enough to handle the additional weight you're going to get from the rest of those components. So it's with any set of new regulations, when they first come out, that's when the engineers have to really go to work. And what'll probably happen, and you saw the same thing happen in 22, is one of the teams or a couple of the teams are going to come up with a really innovative way of doing that. And you're going to get what you have with Max and Red Bull. They're going to be way ahead, and slowly but surely, over time, they're going to start to converge. The thing that I would ask you is, well, why smaller? Why do you want it to be smaller? Better for passing, better accelerate? What's your goal? Why isn't it small enough?
I mean, I think the classic example of why isn't it small enough is you just need to look at the Monaco Grand Prix. It's nigh on impossible to overtake around a really tight track like that. And on top of that as well, from an engineer point of view, for me, the wider these cars are, the harder they're going to be to actually get more fuel efficient. There's a reason why, I mean, it's obviously weight in it, of course, too, but there's a reason why an SUV consumes more fuel than a little go-around car that you tend to go around the city in, because it's got a bigger profile. And there is that too. I mean, yeah, it's not the most important thing, but, when you put it into context, Formula One cars now have a similar profile in terms of their actual footprint on the ground as a Mercedes Maybach, which is a huge car. So to some people, because of that, they don't look like Formula One cars, which is unfortunate. That's part of the product. That's part of the sport.
I think you're right, because if you take Formula One cars from 10 or 15 or 20 years ago and you put them side by side, there's a big difference. And when you make a rule change, especially in this case, you're making big changes on the power unit side. That's going to be a lot of challenges for the engineers. And maybe the thought is, well, okay, but if we're going to be adding all that weight on the power unit side, we need to reduce the weight of the rest of the car. So there are going to be challenges to meet those weight constraints with that added weight. And maybe you can challenge engineers, but maybe there's a limit to how much you can do it and still have, a good competitive race. So that's probably playing it. But I do believe what you're saying is absolutely true, is maybe in the 34 regulations, push even further. Greater percentage, even more on the electric side, keep that engine roar, and push them to do even more with light weighting and materials so that it becomes more relevant for what could be used, say, on the commercial side.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's some great information there and a good discussion. But guys, what do you think of the 2026 regulations? Are they going far enough? Are they going in the right direction? Let us know in the comments below, as always. And yeah, let us know what you want me and Ed to discuss next. Ed is a former VP of Siemens Motorsport, so he's a very knowledgeable person when it comes. He's a great person to chat to, as always. And yeah, as always, subscribe and follow our video channels and audio channels to see much more content just like this.